What is going on, YouTube? Thanks for coming back to the channel. I want to talk to you in this video about trusting in the process, but more specifically, having faith. What does it mean to have faith? Well, that's a tough question. I don't even know how to properly answer that, but you need to have faith in the things you're doing, the person you're becoming, the relationship you're having with the Lord, and how that is going to transform you. In the Bible, it says, transform your mind. It says, renew your mind, become new, become transformed. It doesn't say, start doing a bunch of different things and add, into your lifestyle. It says, no, literally become a new person. Leave the previous version of yourself behind. And that's what you need to do if you want to become the best version of yourself, not just for you, but for others, so that you can fulfill your purpose on this earth. And so many times in life, when we're going through these tough circumstances, we feel impatient. We want the answers now, and we want them exactly how we expect them to be answered. But oftentimes, that's not how things happen. Oftentimes in life, God gives us tests, opportunities, chances to show if we actually do have faith and if we can trust in the process. And we have to go through these hurdles, these obstacles, because right after the difficulty of a storm, immediately after, that's oftentimes when the breakthrough comes. And I don't know who's watching this video. I don't know who needs to hear this, but just know that, I don't want this to be some cliche video where you hear things that people say and you're like, yeah. Literally, bro. Literally, if you become the person that you're meant to become, you find your purpose and you have faith in the process playing out, whatever way it plays out, however long it takes, and you believe that it's going to happen without being able to physically see it, that is when your life starts to unfold and bear fruits in ways that you could never imagine. And there's always times in our life where we feel like we want these answers given to us on a silver platter, but we don't want to, have to uncover these things in order to get so. And we need not just the diligence of our hands and the hard work, but we also need the faith and the trust that everything's going to fall in line. So many times we don't know the answers. To be honest, I don't even know what the rest of this video is going to be like. I don't know, with my future where everything's going to go. And you watching likely don't either. But what I do know is that if you have faith, if you trust in the process, if you follow, what you are being told to do, I truly believe that opening the Bible, looking inside for the answers, extracting the answers, breaking down what it actually means and applying it to your own life, that's going to give you the answers you need. So it's a mix of working hard, doing everything in your human power, but also following what it says in the Word and having patience that it will come to you when the time is right. And the contradictory part, I don't even know if that's the word, the challenging part about, when this answer comes, when that destination comes, is we don't even know if it will come. That's the thing. But having faith that if it comes or if it doesn't come, regardless, we will get to the destination we need to go. That, I think, is truly, the way that I would like to describe faith, because we don't know the answers. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know how easy life will get and the flip of a switch. We also don't know how difficult life could get. We don't know the storms that we're maybe about to step into tomorrow or in an hour. We also don't know the rainbow and the opportunities that could present themselves within literally seconds, minutes, days. But so many people, they rush these things. And because they rush the process, they end up having lack of judgment. This lack of judgment causes them to take improper action and have thought patterns and live their life in this afraid, fear-based pattern. And we don't want that. We truly want to, just live life, allow the things to come as they're supposed to come, and having faith that, things are going to happen as they should, that everything's going to pan out. Is the beauty of life. Is there's never any certainty, there's never any guarantee that we're going to have these things happen the way we are. But now that we know that, we can release all the anxiety, all the stress over what's going to happen next, because we truly will never know the answer, regardless of if it's something negative or something positive, or you have a big life circumstance coming up or a big decision to make. You truly will never know the answer until you find out when it happens. And even then, that could be a disguise. That could be something that is your perception creating it as a different way. What is unfolding in your life right now might not actually be what's unfolding. It might be your perception, and the way you look at it, thinking of it as a specific way, but maybe 3 months down the line, that was supposed to happen. in order for something else to happen, right? And there's just always constant dominoes. So I think that is something that at least has allowed me to, understand that we don't have to live life in fear. We don't have to live life in these sorts of anxieties or worries or doubts. And we can just live life because, if we don't have everything happen the way we want, that's okay. Everything turns out all right. And if we have things pan out the way we want, it's also okay. Great, right? But there's never any certainty, any guarantee that anything happens ever. So what we need to do is just literally be in the moment, be in the present moment, and trust that things are going to happen and fall in line the way they are. Because ultimately, where that destination is a creation of our reality, and it's also our perception, how we look at these things. And so if we are not, being fully present in the now, then it's going to be very, very challenging to enjoy life. And we don't want to live life always focused on the future or always focused on the past, because we're misaligning ourselves from the present moment. We need to be present and be content with what is happening now and appreciate it, because you will never have this moment back in time. This moment that you have right now, this minute, this second, this day, you'll never be able to experience it the way you truly did, right? And so, and things are always changing. So if, we're not appreciative of what's going on in the now, then we're not really living life. We're not really enjoying life. We're not appreciating life. We are just waiting for the next thing to happen. And when that next thing happens, we're going to look for the next thing. So if we can just understand that we never are going to have an answer if this is the right or the wrong thing. We don't ever know what the next step will be until it presents itself. And even in that present moment, when it does present itself, we still don't know if that was the answer to our questions, or if there are more things that are going to happen in the future. Or maybe we are so caught up on it, and then that thing happens and we don't even realize it's happening as it's happening. So what we need to understand is that you need to be present and just content with where you are, regardless of how difficult the circumstance might seem for you. Regardless of how uncertain you might be, you need to have faith. And if you are somebody that has faith in the Lord, I think it makes it that much easier. Because when I tapped into my faith, I talked for a long time, about 60 minutes, about my faith. And tapping into it gave me a sense of peace that I could have never imagined. And I think peace is a word that has been on my mind these past couple of days. Over the weekend, I went to a service at a different church, and there was this feeling that I couldn't describe. It was something like I had never experienced before, and it was just a sense of peace, with, amidst everything going on in everybody's life. Everybody has their own challenges. Everybody has their own difficulties. We need to have peace, and that's one thing that the pastor spoke about in that service, was having peace with where you are and who you are and what's going on, and also knowing that peace is what we are meant to have, but we're not able to have peace if we're thinking in the future, if we're thinking in the past tense. We need to accept where we are, accept the things that are happening to us and around us. And when you develop the peace and you can understand, okay, we can be at peace with what's going on in life, then life gets enjoyable. And, these anxieties, these worries, these fears, they go out the window, and we don't have them anymore. Because what are we going to be fearful of if we're only focused on what's happening right now? This is not to say that don't plan for the future, don't have wisdom. It also says that in the Bible, have wisdom, gather knowledge, right? But if we can be in the current moment, focused on what's going on and aware, then it makes life so much more enjoyable. And we don't have to stress, we don't have to worry. We can just truly be. And we oftentimes don't even come to realizations of this nature until we look back 3 months later and realize, that whole 3 months, I was so focused on the future that I missed that whole period of time. And there are truly beautiful things in life, and I think that the world is, beautiful in itself, and I think God works in mysterious ways where you might not think something right now is amazing, right? You might be in a relationship with somebody and maybe things are stressful, or maybe you just got out of a relationship and things are stressful, but you might not understand that, that would not allow you to experience the next relationship that presents itself had you not gone through those tough times. If you're out of shape and you feel like, your health is not where you want it to be, if you're so focused on the end goal, the end destination, and not the process and the journey of where you are now and how you're getting better, then when you actually get into shape, you're going to look back and realize that whole time you were so focused on the next thing that you never actually took time to appreciate where you were. Not just when I say appreciate, I think so many people think we have to appreciate only the positive things. And no, appreciating negative things is a very good thing, because it allows that positive side and the other side to feel so much greater. Not just that, but it also allows you to, feel hardship. I think feeling all senses of emotion is super important. And so many people, we try to mask these things. We try to cover them up. We try to run from our problems. We try to not face these things. But if we were to just face these things, tackle them head on, and just accept them for as they are and not try to resist against these things, then we realize that, it's actually not that bad. I'm just experiencing a different emotion, right? And it's resisting against these things that makes, I think, life so tricky. That, so many people, they stress over what's going to happen next week, tomorrow, etc. You can be focused on the now. We don't have to worry. Like, for me, I'm focusing on this YouTube video right now, and I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm thinking about how can I just like be aware of what's going on and be in the moment. And so many times we get caught up on what's going to happen, in the future, or what might have happened that affected us and made us go through these sequence of events. But if we're not aware of what's going on, then we're missing the whole purpose of life and the whole purpose of the world and what's going on. And life is really beautiful, so make the most of it and be present with what is going on. And that is what truly brings beauty, because you experience life by being present. You miss opportunities and you miss memories, and you honestly miss it on life if you're always focused on the next big thing or the past. So be aware of where you are, be present, and know that life is truly beautiful, but you need to have peace. And how do we find peace? Well, I truly think that, peace comes from being aware with where we are, accepting things for how they are, and knowing that, yes, we can change, yes, we can improve, we can become better, but there's no point of running from these things and whatnot. We need to tackle them, face them head on. And the best way to do that is to accept it for how it is and not want to change things. Amidst how hard, how difficult life circumstances might be, throwing things at you, the most peaceful thing you can actually endure is, going through what you're going through, accepting it for the way it is, and not wanting to change it. Because, again, the more that we try to change these things, we're resisting it. And the more that we resist these things, the more anxiety, the more worrisome, the more fearful we might feel. And often we do feel. And when we can let go of these things is when we truly find peace. And that service that I was at, on Sunday, I literally was just so in the present moment. And because I was in the present moment, I felt that sense of peace. And because I was in that, state of peace, I felt like I really took a lot from that service. And what I walked away from was knowing, that all we really have is right now in the current moment. So let's experience the beauty of it. And let's not, be thinking about what's going to happen in the future or in the past, or be stressing over things that went wrong per se, because really, there's no such thing as wrong or right. It's just all life, and we have ups and downs. And even that, to an extent, I don't know if I fully believe in, because I think that everything happens as it should and it falls in line. So having peace ultimately comes from, being present with where you are. And I think if you tap into your faith and you believe that things will happen as they should, and they ultimately will, then when you do that, life becomes a lot more enjoyable. You don't have to worry about having these stressors come up, and you don't have to worry about things that are out of your control, because that truly is what is, anxiety, worry, fear is something out of your control that you cannot control at this current moment. Of course, you can change things, you can improve and strive for better, but if you're not in the present moment, then you're not fully accepting what's going on in your life. And without these negative emotions, you're never going to feel the positive emotions. Without the positive emotions, you're never going to feel the, negative emotions. And you need both to have, peace and to be okay with where you are. And I think that we all want to live a life where life becomes, something we can actually cherish and we can actually, partake in, rather than just thinking about. And if we're always thinking about the future or thinking about the next thing, or if we're always focused on how we can, excel in X department, I think that's great. But I think it takes away from what you're doing right now and what's going on in your life. And so you need to have, of course, that balance. Of course, be diligent, hardworking. These things are also in the Bible, but I think it's having, on the contrary of that, also accepting the acceptance, right, of where you're at. And as much as you might want to change things, bro, just know that you can't. Maybe you can change things in the future, which comes with making different actions, taking different actions, and having different thoughts. And even to an extent with that, you truly don't know what will happen. And the past, we all know this, but the past, you can't change it, right? So if we're not aware of where we're at, we're not present, and we're not able to have that peace in the now, then you're living life under so much restriction, and you're holding yourself back from a beautiful life that could be unfolding before your eyes. So be present with where you're at, and life will become so much better. I'll see you guys in the next video.